Welcome to my views and news. Saturday's first video, first news stories about demonstrations across Ethiopia. In Addis Ababa, tens of thousands participated in government organized protest. We were waiting for the protest because the protest tells us the mood of the government regarding talks due to be held on Monday. Which slogans were chanted, which banners were displayed at demonstrations today, details for you. And secondly, viewers, AP Associated Press a few hours ago published an article about Shire. What is happening in Shire? We have been receiving conflicting reports from Shire. Now, AP talked to some aid workers who are in Shire, and AP talked to WFP as well, World Food Program spokesperson. So, what is happening there? Is Eritrean military in Shire? Tigray has been saying that dozens of women have been raped. What is AP saying? Thirdly, viewers, very important development is from the Amhara region of Ethiopia. A disgruntled Amhara group based abroad has formed a committee of negotiators, a delegation of negotiators. This delegation of negotiators want to represent Amharas in the upcoming talks on Monday. Will this delegation be allowed to be a party to talks on Monday? Who is part of this delegation? 4 members. Amhara members. And lastly, viewers, we have a new story for you about Ethiopians who are in the US and who cannot return to Ethiopia due to the ongoing conflict. US government has granted them TPS, temporary protected status. Firstly, viewers, protest for the last 3 days. Preparations have been going on for a massive demonstration, not only in Addis Ababa but across Ethiopia. And just a few minutes ago, most demonstrations came to a close in Addis Ababa at Meskel Square. Thousands gathered in other parts of Ethiopia as well. We have seen pictures in Oromia as well, where thousands protested. What is the message from the government through these protests? Obviously, these demonstrations were held with a message. What was the message? And why did the government organize this protest? I think the banners which were displayed gave us a hint what government wants to say. I want to read a few banners which we saw on display in demonstrations, especially in Addis Ababa. First banner said, "No to armies." It means that the protesters said that there must be one army in Ethiopia, ENDF. TDF must be disarmed. Secondly, respect for Ethiopian sovereignty, though Eritrean military is in Ethiopia. But protesters, government wants the West and US to respect sovereignty, territorial integrity of Ethiopia. Thirdly, no to proxy war. TPLF is a Trojan horse. So here the protesters were saying that TPLF is on the payroll of West, or it is the agent of Western countries and US, and Western countries, US, other players. They are fighting a proxy war in Ethiopia by backing TPLF. And then humanitarian organizations which were made controversial by Ethiopian government last year as well. We saw slogans against them, to banners as well. Like one banner read, intervention in the name of humanitarian aid. So that aid agencies are intervening in Ethiopian internal matters under the guise of provision of aid. So you see that government is sending a message through these demonstrations for Monday's talks that government wants to disarm TDF, federal government, that government thinks that West US are backing TPLF, they are using TPLF as a proxy, and that aid workers are partial, biased, they are not impartial, they are supporting TPLF. All these allegations are serious allegations. If Ethiopian government joins talks with these demands, disarming of TDF, I don't think there will be any progress at the talks. Let's see what happens. Government has sent a message. It could be a way of putting pressure upon Tigray People Liberation Fund, upon Western and US officials who are involved in the peace process to get the maximum out of the talks by putting pressure upon TPLF and US Western officials. It could be a way of putting pressure. I don't think that disarming of TDF is possible, or if it is a demand of Ethiopian federal government, it means that talks will definitely fail. Let's see what updates on Monday was. Secondly, Shire was what is happening in Shire city. Conflicting reports were coming in. Now, Associated Press published an article a few hours ago about Shire. AP talked to some aid workers who are in Shire, and AP talked to a representative of World Food Programme. And AP says that firstly, Eritrean soldiers were seen on Shire airport. Eritrean and Ethiopian, both armies, soldiers, they have taken control of Shire airport. So AP is confirming that Eritrean military is involved in this war. Secondly, AP said that according to an aid worker stationed in Shire, warehouses of NGOs were attacked, were stormed by Eritrean and Ethiopian forces, and Eritrean forces stole several vehicles. Looting was underway in Shire. Then AP talked to World Food Programme representative, and WFP representative said that yes, some unknown attackers entered WFP's warehouses in Shire. But the scale of damage, if there was a damage, was unclear. WFP spokesperson said that the WFP was trying to get in touch with their workers in Shire to get complete details about what is happening in Shire, but WFP confirmed that attackers, unknown armed men, entered WFP's warehouses in Shire. Were there lootings? Were there any theft of aid material? That's not clear. WFP is not accusing of any lootings, any theft so far. It is only confirming that its warehouses, that some armed groups entered its warehouses a day after Shire came under EDF controls. Obviously, there was no TDF when attackers entered WFP's warehouses. Tigray regional government, a department of the government released a report saying that around 40 women and girls had been raped by Eritrean military in Shire. Obviously, the report is from Tigray regional government, so we cannot say if it is true or not. But aid workers obviously won't speak about human rights abuses. Human rights abuses will be uncovered by human rights organizations which are not allowed to operate in Tigray. But Tigray regional government says that 40 women and girls were raped by Eritreans in Shire. Thirdly, viewers, another party wants to be part of talks due to be held on Monday between Tigray regional government representatives and Ethiopian federal government representatives. The party is from the Amhara region of Ethiopia. There have been splits in the Amhara region. One faction supports PP Prosperity Party. It is part of Prosperity Party. It is in alliance with PM Abiy of Ethiopia. There is another faction sidelined which opposes those Amhara groups which are aligned with the federal government of Ethiopia. Though these disgruntled Amhara elements are not allowed to work freely in Amhara region, and most of these disgruntled elements are supporters of Fano as well. Hundreds of them have been arrested, thousands rather, and most of them are based abroad. Amhara Association of America, which is a diaspora group based in the US, has released a statement saying that Amharas in the Amhara region have formed a 4-member committee of negotiators, which is called Amhara People's Negotiation Delegation, APND. And Amhara Association of America has written a letter to Olusegun Obasanjo, Fumzile, Yoro Kenyatta, EU, US and UN officials who are involved in the peace talks due to be held in South Africa on Thursday. And this Amhara body wants the mediators, the panel of mediators, to allow this Amhara people's delegation to be part of talks. 4 members have been announced by APND to be part of the delegation. The 4 members are firstly General Tafira Mamu, former head of Amhara Special Force. He worked as the head of Amhara Special Force last year when Tigray forces were in the Amhara region of Ethiopia, threatening to reach Addis Ababa, Ethiopian capital. Later, he was removed from his post. Secondly, Desalegn Chene, a member of parliament. He is from Nama, National Movement of Amharas. Balatemola party chairman of Nama, and Desalegn Chene is one of the key members, leaders of Nama. He's from Gajam, and he was one of those politicians who got large number of votes in last general election held in Ethiopia. And he is very critical of Ethiopian federal government, Amhara regional government as well. Thirdly, Dr. Wandwassan Asifa Helemariam. Fourthly, Tivodros Terfe. This 4-member delegation has been announced by AAA. And AA says that 40 other people from the Amhara region are part of a delegation, a broad delegation, but mainly these 4 will represent ethnic Amharas in the talks. AA says that both TPLF and Prosperity Party have committed atrocities on the Amharas. So that is why those Amharas who are part of PP, they are not true representatives of the people of Amhara region. AA is demanding the release of all prisoners in the Amhara region who have been arrested just because they are not supportive of the federal government and Amhara regional government. And secondly, AAA reiterated its position that Ulkayet, Humera, Sagade, Raya as well are part of the Amhara region of Ethiopia. Let's see, will the panel of mediators consider this letter written by AAA? Lastly, viewers, Ethiopians who fled Ethiopia and who arrived in the US somehow have been requesting for TPS, a temporary protected status, and the US government yesterday announced the granting of TPS to those Ethiopians who cannot return to Ethiopia because of ongoing conflict, because of other issues in Ethiopia. The announcement was made by Department of Homeland Security, DHS, yesterday that there was conflict in Ethiopia, armed conflict. There were other environmental issues too, drought ongoing. So some people's lives could be in danger if they return home. That is why government has decided to give TPS to those Ethiopians who have arrived in the US before the 20th of October 2022. It means that who arrived in the US before Thursday can be eligible for a TPS. Those who arrive in coming days, weeks or months will not be eligible for a TPS. It has been a demand of Tigrayans and other ethnic group members of Ethiopia who have fled Ethiopia and who have arrived in the US that US government should grant them TPS. Now TPS granted for 18 months. Thank you for watching.